These are the few tips to keep your first layer of your eye to keep alive. Next thing, pranamaya kosha. Pranam brahmeti navyajana. Again the Upanishad says, prana is God, don't waste it. You need to understand this word. Prana is God, don't waste it. If you waste the 5 layers of your eye, then only you shrink yourself and you are only in the small eye. If you use all the layers of your eye, you will become a bigger eye. Prana is energy. Don't think prana means air. It is a subtle energy which is carried by air. It is called prana. Whenever the air circulation happens in your system, a subtle energy which goes in and comes out is the thing which is called prana. What is meant by don't waste it? Don't breathe in a very off-minded way. You breathe throughout the day, but do you mind your breathing? All of you, if you mind, you will see you are breathing only very short. You don't breathe in a deep, long way. Have you seen that Ganesha's statue? It's got a big belly. If you breathe totally, actually the Ganesha is considered as a god who is in Mooladhara Chakra. He is the god of intelligence. If you breathe deeply, you will see your intelligence also becomes just like Ganesha. That's why he showed with a big nose, long nose. He is the god in Mooladhara. If you breathe deeply, the Mooladhara will be awakened. All your energy centers will be alive. As of now, you are alive, you are at your peak only in the moments of sex. Whenever your Mooladhara is active, alive, your whole being comes to life. Whenever you are fantasizing, whenever you are in the mood of sex, you will see your whole being is active, vibrant, alive. Now only in the time, at the time of sex and the fantasizing, you are alive. But by the deep breathing, your body can be alive throughout the day. Throughout the day and throughout the year, it can become alive. It can become beautiful. There is a meditation technique. Many people come and tell me, report me, Swamiji, with that meditation I feel that I am reaching the state of peak. I feel that inside my being, the orgasmic experience is happening. What is happening? How can meditation take me to such a peak experience? I tell them, it is nothing to do with the outer person, outer man or woman. It is something to do with your own energy system. There is a book called Discovering Love. In that backside, I have given a quotation. When I say surrender in love, I don't say surrender to the partner. I say surrender to the experience which is love. The same way, it is an experience, it is not because of the other. We always mistake, the joy is because of the outer world, the outer man or outer woman. No. It is because of the inner alchemy. Because your energy is awakened, you feel the joy and the ecstasy. Never because of the outer man and the outer woman. A small example from Ramana Maharshi. A dog has got one bone, dry bone. It started biting and playing with the bone. And finally the bone has scratched his own mouth and blood started coming out, oozing from his mouth. And the dog was just enjoying the blood, thinking that blood is from the bone. Just like that dog, the dog which enjoys the dry bone and sucks his own blood, thinking that blood is coming from the bone. Blood is coming from the outside. Just like the dog, we also use the dry bones of the outer world and we get the joy from our own system, from our own being. But we think the joy is from the bone. It is just your alchemy. If you change your alchemy, if you can change your system, if you can change your breathing, you will see continuously 24 hours you are the orgasmic joy, you are the ecstasy. People ask, how can a man go beyond the worldly pleasures? I have seen many people, especially the intellectuals, people who have read too much. Actually, one person, one elderly Pandit, he was asking me, according to the Shastras, the Shastra says 25 years of brahmacharya, 25 years grihastha, 25 years vanaprastha, 25 years sannyasa. According to the rule, you should have been grihastha. He asked me, you should have been a grihastha. Why you became a sannyasi? I told him, according to the rules, you should have become sannyasi by this time because he was above 75. You are not become. To compensate like you persons only, I have become Swami. Then he said, poor man, in this young age you became Swami. I said, you poor, I feel only sorry for you. You don't know the state in the ecstasy or joy in which I am. Don't feel sorry for me. I only feel sorry for you, poor man, still now suffering in the world. He said, looking at me, oh, in this young age you have become Swami, very. I told him, I only should feel sorry. I only feel poor. Even after this age, you feel still, you are still suffering, caught up in the world and bondages. There is a beautiful Upanishad says, when a man becomes enlightened, every hair follicles emits a joy or ecstasy of orgasm. Every hair fall. Just it emits the ecstasy. Every inch of your being emits the ecstasy or the joy continuously, 24 hours. I tell you from my experience, it is truth. It just continuously feels joyful, ecstatic. I tell them, because continuously inside the joy is flowing. It is just bubbling. I don't need the outer joys. This is the way the renunciation happens. When you are so ecstatic, bubbling inside your being, you don't need anything from the outer world, from the outside. Neither pleasure nor comforts. You are totally ease with your being, with your system. When you breathe with awareness, you will see your Mooladhara awakens. Vinayaka, Ganesh is the Mooladhara, representative of Mooladhara. Whenever you chant the Ganapati mantra, you will see that Mooladhara awakens. Gam is the Ganapati's bija. If you say the Gam, you will see exactly a Mooladhara, it resonates. The Mooladhara will resonate. Mooladhara means where your spinal cord ends. The sex center. If you utter that word Gam, you will see there like a hammer, it will be vibrating. The Ganapati mantra awakens the Mooladhara. Anyhow, if you just breathe deeply, that's enough. You will see the Pranamaya Kosha, the second layer of your body expands as deeply as possible. Whenever you find time, if you are driving, if you are just sitting, if you are relaxing in your house, if you are taking bath, whenever you remember, just start breathing as deeply as possible. You will see whole body gets awakened, alive. Whenever you are alive, you will see that the breathing will become fast. At the time of anger, at the time of sex, at the time of violence, whenever you remember somebody whom you hate, you can see always the breathing will become fast. Whenever you make the breath fast, you will become alive. Your being is flooded with life. You reach the beautiful, ecstatic layer. So whenever you remember, immediately start breathing as deeply as possible. Throughout the day, you will see you will be more alive and more active. There is a third layer, Manomaya Kosha. The inner chattering is what is third layer of your eye, Manomaya Kosha. How to keep the third layer alive, active. How to use the third layer alive and active. The Manomaya Kosha. Whenever you remember, there is a beautiful sutra. Manam Brahmedi Navyajanat. The layer of the mind is God. Don't waste it. You waste, how you know? Throughout the day you can see you will be continuously thinking for no use at all. Throughout the day you will be continuously thinking, but there will be no use. If you just sit for 5 minutes, today all of you practice this one thing. When you go back to your house, sit just for 5 minutes and write down all your thoughts. Write down all your thoughts. You will see more than 80% is only junk thoughts, like a junk mails. When you see your mails, whatever is not useful for you, you say that as a junk mail. Just like that, if you write your thoughts and see, 80%, you may think, oh, 80% is too much, maybe 20-30%. But please you write down and see. Then you will understand 80% is not useful directly to your life. It is not useful directly to your life at all. Either for your growth, I am not telling only for a spiritual life, even for your ordinary life, it will not be useful for your money making, or for your business, or for your health, or for your being. You may say, no, 80% is too much. But I have experimented with hundreds of people. I always found this 80% is the right ratio. 80% will be just junk thoughts. Whenever you find time, sit and try to analyze your thoughts. It's like cleaning the cobwebs. Analyzing your thoughts is equal to cleaning your cobwebs at least once in 10 days. Analyzing thoughts, what are you thinking actually? What's going on in your mind? You see, all your thoughts put together, the totality of your thoughts only is your life. Am I right? Totality of your thoughts only is your life. If a big lunatic asylum is going on inside, what will be your life? If you note down your thoughts, if you write down your thoughts, you will find it's nothing but a big lunatic asylum going on. Every side, every corner, everybody is jumping. Each side, each fellow is shouting. You do not know what is happening in your system. It's just like asylum. In asylum you can see one fellow will be shouting, one fellow will be rolling, one fellow will be jumping, one fellow will be... Each one will be doing their own way. Nothing is regularized, nothing is controlled. Just the same way only your mind. It's not, don't think it's a clear system, it's a chaotic system. Try to analyze your thoughts. Thoughts are weapons. Don't think they are just dead instruments. What you think, that only you will speak. Thoughts are nothing but weapons. Try to analyze your thoughts. I don't say correct your thoughts. Never try to correct them. Just analyze. You will see they correct by themselves. When you try to correct, you will be fighting with yourself. Never. You will be trying to fly by holding your shoes. By pulling your shoes, can you fly? Never. Never try to fight with your thoughts. Never try to correct them. Because I know all of you tried all your best to correct your thoughts. But never it gets corrected, only you are getting corrected. You finally come to a conclusion, thoughts cannot be controlled. You don't correct, just analyze and find out where the trouble is. Thoughts are just like, mind is just like a small kid. If you tell him, keep quiet, do this, do that, he will never obey. Just you watch him very relaxedly, slowly. Let him move around the hall, just sit and watch him. You will see, within 2-3 minutes, he will just look at you once. Second time. Finally, when he sees that you are silently watching, he will automatically sit silently, keep quiet. Am I right? If you try to control the kids, they will never respond. You just try to witness him, watch him. He will silently come and sit next to you. Mind is just like a child. A small incident happened in Buddha's life. An emperor came to see Buddha. He was sitting and just shaking like this, legs, shaking the legs. I have seen many people doing this. Have you seen? Like this, just shaking. It shows the inner restlessness, nothing else. Inside restlessness. And like this doing only, finally they get into Parkinson's. It starts shaking by itself. After some time, you don't need to shake, but it shakes by itself. Parkinson's. Now this is a habit only. Ends up in the Parkinson's. And the emperor was just shaking continuously. Buddha didn't tell anything. He just watched him. He gave him a look. Suddenly emperor stopped. He understood. It stopped. The emperor asked, Master, how can I stop my mind? Buddha says, the same way the which I stopped your leg. I didn't say to stop him. I just watched him. I just gave a look. When you understood that you are shaking, you automatically stopped it. You automatically stopped it. It's not that you tried, you also took some time or the method or the technique to stop it. If I say stop your legs, you will ask, Swamiji, please give me the technique, how to stop. No need for any technique. Buddha just looked, the king stopped. Same way, look at your mind, you will see it will stop. Because mind works only when there is unconsciousness. Whenever you find time. Don't think whenever you find, no, when I say that whenever you find time, you decide, no, I don't have time. When I tell the people, meditate, they always tell me, Swamiji, I don't have time. As if everybody else is doing nothing. He is the only person who is doing the world's work. You see, never say you don't have time. You say one thing, I can't give so much of importance to the meditation. I have much more important work than meditation. Then things are understood. Then what you say is truth. Everybody has got only that much of time. How can you say you don't have time? You can say, I can't give so much of importance to meditation because I have much more important work. If you say that, then you can say you are honest. So never say you don't have time. Make some time. Instead of sitting and watching in front of your TV, you can sit and watch your mind, but you will see much bigger shows inside your mind. You will see much beautiful shows inside your mind. When you sit and watch, witness your thoughts, you will see automatically they come to your rhythm, they come to your understanding. Your energy gets used. Your energy will be expanded properly in the dimension in which you want to grow. You take so much of time to clear your car, to clear your house, to clean your room, but you don't take time to clean your mind. And then you complain, Swamiji, in those days I used to have so much of peace of mind and so much of relaxed mood. Nowadays I am too stressed. The man who is in the college level, he also comes and gives the same complaint. The man who is in his 30s, he also comes and says the same complaint. The man who is in 40s, he also says the same thing. The man who is in 80s, he also says the same thing. I was amazed that who is actually in the peace. Everybody says in the past, once upon a time, I was so relaxed, so happy, so joyful. I had a lot of peace of mind. Never. It is just your mind. At least once in a week, try to sit with yourself. Give appointment to yourself. You give appointment to so many thousands of people. Give appointment to yourself. Meditation is nothing but the time, the appointment which you give it to yourself.